that I applaud transparency. I mean, I've been one of the people who's been wanting these files to be released. I mean, those of you who know about my background as a psychiatrist know that I spent a lot of time working with women who were sexually abused as children. I know how devastating that is. And my practice became full almost overnight with these women who had been trafficked. And this was a practice that was in Southern California, not that far from Hollywood. Okay. I never heard any of the women I worked with tell me any names of anybody that who did this or whatever. They were just there wanting, to kind of put their lives back together. And so that's what we focused on. But I've always had in the back of my mind this concern that there were people who are out there exploiting children and there's no consequences. They're too powerful for to be touched. And so, and I'd never even heard of Jeffrey Epstein until Ghislaine Maxwell had been arrested. And I looked into that and I saw, that there's this intelligence connection and that this was kind of a honeypot scheme using children. And I just thought, oh God, it breaks my heart, to ever hear of anybody that, is abused and children. I mean, people have been wanting this information come out. And so the problem is what it sounds like is that they've released this like everything, which, that's what you have to do because people are going to accuse you of hiding something if you don't release everything. And so then, it's like it's hard to be a public figure at all and not have your name in something that is, everything en masse released. And so when I heard, when somebody contacted me and said, somebody's trying to link you with Epstein, I was like, are you kidding me? That's like, in what possible way? My research was funded by me. I gave up on trying to find funding for my research. I was told it was too controversial. People didn't believe in these kids. Me to write for a grant at the Templeton Foundation, and I did. And apparently Deepak Chopra mentioned it in an email to Epstein. Never told me that he mentioned it in an email to Epstein, and I never got funding. I never got funding from Deepak to do the work, and I never got funding from the Templeton Foundation, and so this is all like a long time ago. That's what's going to happen is that a lot of people, names are going to get, put out there. But I think, once the dust settles, we'll really see, who it is that's been, involved in this and whatnot. I am like everybody else that has been following this story. I want to see, I want to see, accountability. I want to see justice. I want to see all that. So. I'm the last person that would be doing anything. And even I'm really picky, as a lot of people know, I'm really picky about who I accept funding from. Mhm. I've never gotten funding from, any of the, sources that could be connected with intelligence operations because once again, I'm not doing this research for any reason other than to help humanity. And I feel that what these children are showing us, and a lot of them are really adults. I mean, only, less than 5% are children, actually. What they're showing us is really, the divinity within human nature. And they're showing us that the material model that we're being taught in our schools that pathologizes people who say they have these experiences and that really it gives us a godless, just very dystopic view of life and humanity. I feel that this work is really actually helping to give us something that is, getting back on the right track of recognizing our own divinity, and being more compassionate and loving and realizing we're interconnected with one another. So that's what's driving me. Anyway, but yeah, I just thought I'd better, kind of let people know my thoughts about this. It was kind of a shock to me and yet not a shock. It's just like, yeah. When you're trying to do good work, you're gonna get some opposition. And it's not the first time somebody has said something that's, uh, slanderous towards me. I have nothing to hide. And um, and so that's about all there is to say.